What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? What are we at today? Friday? Thursday? Friday? Friday. Welcome into the live stream. We're going to do everything Alberta budget this morning. That's what we're going to do. Alberta budget. Now, nobody wants a deficit, okay? I'm a fiscal conservative. I believe in fiscal responsibility. I completely understand that. Danielle Smith is doing the best that she can do. And for the naysayers out there who just want to nail her to the wall on this, right? Like, for the past 6 months, we've been listening to Naheed Nenshi, a leader of Alberta's NDP, official opposition, said Danielle Smith is not doing enough for healthcare. Danielle Smith is not doing enough for education. Danielle Smith is not doing enough for the public sector or social services. That's what we've watched. Like, you can't even go back and deny that, right? Like this, and then you got NDP supporters obviously coming out today. Oh, look at her. She's running a deficit. This is not responsible. This is absolutely terrible. This is the worst thing ever. Well, newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, every single province in Canada today is running a deficit. Every single one. Doesn't matter where you are. British Columbia right next door is running a deficit bigger than us, right? Ontario is running a larger deficit. Every single province is running a deficit. Now, that is literally because of federal liberal policies. And I can't see this. And they always say this, right? But you guys will understand after I say this. I cannot see a world where a person who votes provincially NDP votes conservative at a federal level. In Alberta, anyway. In Alberta, for sure. There's no way that these woke lefties in Alberta just automatically move to the right on a federal vote. Okay? And there's a reason I'm saying that. The reason I'm saying that is simple. Liberal policies has brought every single province in this country to their knees. So every single province is running a deficit today because of liberal policy. And I can't explain it better than that. I can't say anything other than that. Again, I will say this. I don't want to run a deficit. But I also do know, I was a very vocal person in the teacher strike. You guys know this. You guys know, excuse me, that I talked in the teacher strike. I was against the teacher striking. I wanted to change to the system. Naheed Nenshi wanted to change to the system as well. Except Naheed, what he wanted was just to throw money at it. What Danielle Smith did was put an entire task force together, right? An entire task force to look at what is wrong individually at every single school board level and school district level and school level so we could get appropriate funding measures to them. And that's what happened. Yet we're sitting here, months later after the school strike. Naheed Nenshi comes out and says, this is fiscally irresponsible. This is not the way it should happen. And you need to make me premier so I can fix this. No, you're a socialist. Your budget would be terrible. This is the guy that hates pipelines. This is the guy that hates oil and gas. This is the party that shut down coal-fired power plants. This is the party that's against coal mines. This is a party that's against bringing investment into the province. And this guy thinks that he could run a balanced budget. This guy doesn't even know what gender is. That's the truth. Guys, if you can share this out, if you can hit that likes button, if you can hit that subscribe button, and especially that like over on YouTube, I would appreciate it. But we're going to get into it. I went through the budget. I got some points of the budget that I want to talk about. I got a reaction from an unhinged lefty from Banff, Alberta. I've got I got some video clips of Naheed Nenshi, Rocky Puntoli. She's the deputy leader of the NDP. And they're coming out swinging, right? They're coming out swinging. It's absolutely insane what we're seeing here in real life. But before we get into the budget talk, let's see what Naheed Nenshi had to say right after the budget, because he knows damn well that he's doing the best or Danielle's doing the best that she can with what she has against liberal policies. He knows that. So he didn't want it, right? He didn't want it to be about, oh, look, they are actually spending money on social services, right? They are actually doing something. No, it had to be about identity politics. And this is literally what he had to say.
Historic has happened today. The Assembly of Treaty Chiefs, representing all of the chiefs of all of the nations of Alberta, have for the first time in history, I believe the first time in Canadian history, passed a motion of non-confidence in Premier Smith, in the provincial government, and in the province of Alberta. That tells you a lot about the state of things in Alberta today. That the Premier's distractions, her division, her anger within the government, her rage farming, has led to a place where a lot of Albertans feel very heavy right now. There's a lot weighing on us.
Rage farming. Did he actually just accuse the UCP of rage farming? I get attacked from these NDP, Antifa, AB resistance people every single day. You know, these people will dox children. These people will attack you. These people will cancel your businesses. These people don't want you to eat. These people they hate you. They hate you. But you gotta go back to the beginning of that. And I want to show you the beginning of it. Just listen, because he didn't want to give any successes, right?
All the budget, something absolutely historic has happened today. The Assembly of Treaty Chiefs, representing all of the chiefs of all of the nations of Alberta, have for the first time in history, I believe the first time in Canadian history, passed a motion of non-confidence in Premier Smith, in the provincial government, and in the province of Alberta.
All right, cool. Where was this passed? Could somebody let me know? Where did the Chiefs go and pass a vote of non-confidence? Does anybody have the answer for me? Anybody? Because what Naheed Nenshi is trying to do there is confuse you, the public. It is trying to confuse everybody into thinking that First Nations chiefs work like a federal government. And we know what happens when we talk about a vote of no confidence at a federal level. What are the optics of that? What happens when at a federal level, the federal government who's holding power, the government loses confidence in them? What happens? The government falls. Right? The government falls. So he's coming out and saying First Nation chiefs held a vote of non-confidence in Danielle Smith, trying to confuse the conversation and make you think that because of that, the government falls, bringing identity politics in it. This man is going to need First Nation vote when it comes down to an election, and that's what he's doing, setting the stage for that. Naheed Nenshi doesn't give a fuck about First Nations. He's just like Justin Trudeau, who stood in front of a rock, kneeled down with a teddy bear, and took a photo op, who used residential schools and survivors to win an election. Naheed Nenshi is doing the same strategy here, and that is exactly what is happening. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So, ladies and gentlemen, I went through the budget. I went through it. And there's a lot of spending there. There's a ton. There's a ton of spending. And in things that I think need to happen in this province. If you know that Danielle Smith was touring the province doing the Alberta Next panel, right? And the head hated it because they don't actually want Danielle Smith to have solutions. That's not what this is about. Right? You don't get to go out there and talk to Albertans and get solutions. You have to get those solutions from the NDP party, because we have to make you look bad, because we're never happy unless we're holding power. That's what this is about. That's exactly what this is about. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So let's see what Naheed Nenshi really had to say here.
Spent so much money and delivered so little results for Albertans. After 7 years of UCP government, life is demonstrably more difficult for Albertans in almost every aspect.
Thanks, federal liberals.
And this budget doesn't help. This budget doesn't reduce your cost of living. It actually makes life more expensive.
This budget, plain and simple, makes life harder for a lot of Albertans, asking them to pay more and get less. If you're a trades worker, you'll pay more. If you're a small business owner, you will pay more. If you own a car, if you own a home, if you're a rancher, you'll pay more. If you have aging loved ones in long-term care and continuing care, you're going to be paying more.
This budget doesn't fix the healthcare crisis. It doesn't solve crowding in emergency rooms. It doesn't get you a family doctor. It doesn't improve classrooms. This budget doesn't build new ones for students already crowded into the system. It's time to face the consequences. As Raki says, cut the BS and call an election.
That's all they want, right? That's all they want. They just want an election. Like the gaslighting in that right there that I just saw you in a minute, the gaslighting there was absolutely ridiculous because what they're counting on the average Albertan not to go and open the budget up. That's what they want, right? They're counting on the average Albertan not to go and open the budget. Well, that's what we did because that's why you guys follow. That's why you guys don't watch Global BS, CTV BS, CBC BS, because we opened the budget and the gaslighting was very prevalent, very, very prevalent. So let's look at this. On the capital side, let's see if I go, here we go. On the capital side, $4.9 billion over 2026 to 2029, up $1.3 billion from budget 2025 for health infrastructure, including $1 billion for Red Deer Regional Hospital redevelopment and $923 million for continuing care. Overlay from fiscal plan PDF. So if you go to the budget, page 101, $4.9 billion over 2026-2029, $1.3 from budget 2025 for system capacity enhancement. This shows significant infrastructure boosts to handle population growth, which the NDP has demanded. They've demanded this. Excuse me. And now they're getting it. They're getting it. And I don't know about you guys, but this is insane. They're getting what they want. And this is the response.
In all the budgets, something absolutely historic has happened.
Wrong one.
Government spent so much money and delivered so little results.
So how are you supposed to give things to healthcare, to education, to mental health? Like, how are you supposed to give anything when every province is running deficits because federal liberal irresponsibility? You get what you're demanding, and you turn around and gaslight Albertans because you're saying they're not gonna read the budget. They're stupid. No, Nahead, we read the budget because we know you're gonna gaslight Albertans. We know that's what you're gonna do, and we're just picking you apart. I'm gonna be making content today, literally just picking Nahead and Enchi apart because, again, I don't like deficits, but I understand the position we're in. And I can tell you, a guy like Naheed Nenshi will not fix the deficit. Rachel Notley didn't fix it. Rachel Notley ran deficits all while destroying infrastructure and destroying industry in this province. The last time, 4 years the NDP had, and it's going to take 40 years to fix what they did in 4. You know, people like follow these guys around and they're like, oh, I love Naheed. He's just so great. What? The NDP party destroys everything it touches. Look at British Columbia. Enter stage left British Columbia. Destroying everything. Again, like I said, we went through the budget. Here's one for you. Let's discuss this one. The NDP has criticized the budget for not sufficiently improving health services despite high spending. However, budget 2026 allocates a record $30.18 billion in operating expenses for health in 2026-2027, which is an increase of $830 million. This includes targeted investments to address wait times, emergency services, mental health areas, often highlighted by the NDP as underfunded. It's underfunded. They say it's underfunded. Danielle Smith, enter stage right, comes in, says, okay, we heard through our Alberta Next panel that we got to fix this. We didn't just listen. We didn't just listen to the NDP party. We went to actual real Albertans and we talked to them. And we're going to do something about that. Enter stage left, Naheed Nenshi. They are fiscally irresponsible. There's no way out of this, Alberta. No way out. It's me. You elect Naheed Nenshi and we will get you on the right track. Oh, it's insanity. Like, it's actually insanity. Like, covering, don't get me wrong, I love covering this for you guys because, listen, it's very easy to cover Naheed Nenshi's bullshit every day. It's not a hard job. It's not hard. So let's go to the deputy leader of the NDP, Rocky Pincholi, or whatever her name is. Let's see what she had to say on the budget.
No other government in Alberta's history has. They've blown a resource boom during the boom. It takes remarkable.
So I have a video coming out today about Rocky. They blew a boom during a resource boom. So just because on a global scale things are ramping up in the resource and energy sector, when your federal government is blocking all things resource and covering it in red tape and bureaucracy and setting up third-party activists to block energy and doing all these things to hate the West, it's not a boom here. Okay? That's definitely not anything to gloat about or boast about, especially in the legislature. That is absolutely embarrassing. So you better believe there's a video coming out for her today, 100%.
But no other government in Alberta's history has. They've blown a resource boom during the boom. It takes remarkable financial mismanagement to have the highest real per capita resource revenue in decades and still deliver a ballooning multi-billion-dollar deficit. The UCP will end this fiscal year with 6 times the resource revenue Rachel Notley had, but with a larger deficit. And tomorrow the UCP will deliver another multi-billion-dollar deficit. Truly unbelievable achievement. Is it getting awkward for the Minister of Finance to still describe his government as fiscally responsible with a straight face?
Love that. Hey, fiscal responsibility. So again, the NDP have cried over and over again, right? They want more. They want more. They want more. It's delivered. And now they're going to try to throw Danielle Smith under the bus for it. Well, that's the best part about it, is we get to cover it. People get to listen. And you know what will happen? They'll call us fascists. They'll call us Nazis. They'll call us racist. They'll call us transphobes. It's the same script every day. It's not hard to watch and figure out what they try to do. Assassinate the character because we're speaking common sense. That's what I did this morning. This morning, Global News had a guy sitting in Montreal talking about the budget. Global Calgary is what it was. And I'm like, well, why couldn't you bring somebody on who's in Calgary to talk about the why did you go to Montreal? That's bad optics to me. That doesn't make much sense to this guy. I don't know about you, but Global News has really missed the mark on that. It was embarrassing, to be honest with you. Absolutely embarrassing. You want to see another one? Because, like I said, guys, we went through this. We and as I'm going through the budget, I'm sitting there, I'm watching, the budget be read, and I'm reading the actual budget, and I'm like, this has a lot of good points in it. I don't agree with all of the spending. I hate deficits, and I'm already trying to figure out how Naheed Nenshi is going to label this as racist, right? I'm like, this motherfucker is going to come out and he's going to call it racist. And he didn't. He didn't. That's not the first thing he did. So I'll give him that. But he used the First Nations right out of the gate. Right out of the gate. He's after the First Nations. He's like, the Chiefs, they voted in non-confidence. Shut up, Nenshi. Nobody wants to listen to you. Oh, no, sorry. I want to listen to him. Because every single time Nenshi opens his mouth, another person crosses over to the UCP. Guaranteed. Just because this is being hosted right now, I gained a UCP supporter today. I can guarantee you that. They might not have come from the NDP. They might be from the undecided. That's okay. But absolutely. Guys, just a quick thing. If you're over on YouTube right now watching this, hit the bell. That's a big one. Hit the like, because they love likes for some reason. And hit the subscribe button, because this is a daily thing. And we do these in the evening as well. And then I put my podcasts on YouTube. If you're on Facebook and all those other channels, Facebook, in the pinned comments, you'll see that subscription. That's a private group that we are all part of. There's about 700 of us in there. If you want to come in there and have little chats with us, we'd appreciate that. If you're over on X, I don't even know how X works, to be honest with you. I just post to X because... and if you're over on Instagram, we love you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. You can hit the subscribe button on the Instagram as well. We really appreciate you for all of that. We appreciate you guys who do come in and interact and engage and talk to us on an everyday basis. Let's get back in. I don't even know what else to say. Here. Did we read this one? I don't think we read this one yet. Let's read this one. Page 74 of the budget, total $30.18 billion, 2026-2027, up by $830 million or 2.8% from 2025. So additionally, there's $1.9 billion in new funding across the system, including $525 million over 3 years, increased surgeries by 50,000 and $223 million for cancer care expansion. Right? Another thing that the NDP actually screamed about was emergency wait times and surgery wait times, which are all going to be fixed. All going to be fixed because Danielle Smith did the Alberta Next panel. She sent out actual real people from industry to do their research. This stuff takes time, right? The head Nenshi always wants to throw money at it. Okay, fine. You know what? That's the fast way to go broke. But he's a socialist, a mass socialist. So what do we say about socialism, ladies and gentlemen? It always runs out of other people's money. So that's Naheed Nenshi's solution. Well, no, Danielle Smith actually puts task force together, goes in. That's how they come up with these conclusions. She had to spend the money. She had to. It ran a deficit. It sucks, right? You know, a buddy texted me today. He said 54% of the budget is going to public sector salaries. And I was like, whew, that's a lot. And I don't really agree. I don't like it. Trust me, I don't like it. But we need teachers and they're hiring them. We need doctors and they're hiring them. We need nurses and they're hiring them. All high paying skilled jobs, right? We need paramedics and they're hiring them. Like, and Naheed and them have the audacity to come out and say this stuff.
The Alberta government spent so much money and delivered so little results for Albertans. After 7 years of UCP government, life is demonstrably more difficult for Albertans in almost every aspect of our lives. And this budget doesn't help. This budget doesn't reduce your cost of living. It actually makes life more expensive.
This budget, plain and simple, makes life harder for a lot of Albertans, asking them to pay more and get less.
Yeah, so that's I don't know about you guys. Like, what do you think? You got to, like, again, I know you guys, a lot of you fiscal conservatives, you're not super pumped about a deficit. I'm not pumped about a deficit. Why would I be pumped about a deficit? Nobody is, but I'm also a realist. Okay, I got the last slide here. But I do encourage each and every one of you, like me, to go through this deficit or go through this budget and then see the deficit. And, you know, if there's things in there that you don't like, contact your MLA. Like, that's the best thing to do, right? Or you can do what the NDP does and go and coordinate attacks on content creators, because I think that's going to change policy. Fuck, they're stupid. Oh, man. A day in the life of a conservative content creator is great, by the way. I do love it. I do enjoy it. It is comical. Despite NDP claims, so this is for education funding, right? Despite NDP claims that the budget fails to solve education problems, it provides $12.39 billion total for education and childcare in 2026-2027. And I want to reiterate that. That is record-setting. That is record-breaking. That has never been spent in this province before. Now, we've had to spend this money because of the irresponsible immigration that we've seen with temporary foreign workers and temporary students bringing their families in, and they have to go to school, costing us in total about $500 million per year. It's insane. It's insane. Up $963 million, 8.5% for 2025-2026. Operating expenses are $11.83 billion, up 7.2%. This includes $355 million in 2026 to address enrollment growth, teacher compensation, and classroom complexity, directly responding to calls for more school funding. And you can find that on page 80, okay? Total education and childcare, $12.399 billion in 2026-2027. This is going to go up, right? This is going to go up year after year. You can find all of that on page 47. So not only am I asking you to go read the budget, guys, I'm asking you to go with the page numbers and just go look up this stuff for yourself. I'm not spewing bullshit. This is right out of the provincial budget. I'm not sitting here saying that, I'm making up numbers. What I'm showing you is right out of the budget. I legit read the budget, right? Here's a snippet from the budget, right? Funding for schools. Boards to hire more than 3,000 new teachers, 1,500 new educational assistants in the next 3 years. And they'll scream, we need them now. We need them right now. You don't hire 3,000 teachers overnight. It's not how it works. And if you're gonna do that, you're gonna end up with very shitty teachers. And I'm sorry to say this, if you saw during the teacher strike, we already have a lot of shitty teachers. We already have a lot of very bad teachers, activist teachers that put sexuality and political allegiance over educating our students. And we've seen it, right? And this is where the public sector part comes in, right? Where Buddy got a hold of me and he's like, hey, and I get it. I get that he's like, it's insane. But then when you see that what they're spending it on, you're like, okay, it is still insane, but we can't keep going down this path. Albertans need to be taken care of. But you know what would solve all of this? If we got rid of equalization payments, we wouldn't even have a deficit. There wouldn't be one, right? I want to show you this graph before we get into the unhinged guy from Banff. You probably recognize him or you don't. But typical NDP supporter, completely unhinged. But look at this. Look at this trade route. I want you to look at this. So LNG coming out of Australia to Eastern Canada. So they come out of Eastern Australia. They come down through South America, which that strait between Antarctica and South America is one of the most dangerous in the world. So I wonder how many ships are going to go down through that. But anyway, besides the point, up South America, over coast of Brazil, then up the eastern or the western part, I guess you call it, of the Atlantic, over into East Coast. Wouldn't it be absolutely awesome? Right? Wouldn't it be absolutely awesome if we could put a pipeline from west to east and we could put our own LNG out east? Wouldn't that be great? How many jobs would that provide? How much economic benefit would that provide to Canada? But no. Lefties, indoctrinated and brainwashed lefties. It's wrong. Rick coming in hot with the super chat. To run a deficit for results is not bad. My province runs a deficit and things just get worse. Yes, Rick, that's the thing, right? You run a deficit in hopes that things get better, in hopes that, down the road we can actually run a surplus. But we got to get, in my opinion, we got to get back to that, right, brother? And we will get back to that if we start caring about Canadians. That's fact. Thanks for that, buddy. Thanks for the comment. Really appreciate it. Do you guys want to hear what this unhinged lefty has to say? So this guy lives in Banff. And that's not doxing. I don't even know the guy's name. I don't care. He just says it in almost all of his videos. Maybe he says it in this video. He's against everything, jobs in Alberta. I don't know what he does for a living. Don't care. But he just hates conservatives. Like, he just hates us. Whereas me, like, I don't really hate NDP people. I just think they're very ill-informed, and then they regurgitate the bullshit without reading. I don't hate them, but this guy actually hates us. Let's watch him.
$4 billion deficit. That's conservative economics for you. So we have had a conservative government in this province since 1971, save for 4 years during a recession, interestingly enough. And in every meaningful sense, we've had a conservative government since 1935. Remember Bible Bill? Some of you have been here, all you proud Albertans. So we have been mismanaged by the Smith government. Healthcare is absolutely not better. Education is struggling, but now that, of course, the taps have been turned off, there's less migration. I think Calgary grew by 1 student last year. And after begging to double our population 2 years ago, now Smith and her posse are trying to blame it all on foreigners. So not only are they mismanaging the economy, I mean, gravely so, and not managing their major files, healthcare, infrastructure, education, provincial issues. She's now trading on blaming the foreigners. I mean, it is MAGA and it's embarrassing. And it's mismanagement. And we should have an election, honestly. And Smith should do the right thing and resign.
Like, come on, guys. Like, you can't even take these people seriously anymore. You can't. It's Naheed Nenshi talking points. Call an election. How about you win the election? How about the election we had, you won, okay? And then you become government. Like, calling for an election in the middle of a mandate is not calling for an election. That's not responsible governance. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible governance. But because you guys are unhinged and you react instead of actually reading the budget. This guy did not read the budget. He didn't. Everything he said there, we've already covered in the show today. We've already covered. Another super chat coming in. Thank you. Appreciate you. JP Alberta First says maybe Nenshi should talk to his buddy McPherson and ask her what the fuck with Ottawa. Well, this is what it all boils down to, right? Right, Jay? And thank you for that comment, brother. But this is what it all boils down to is these people listen to Nenshi. So I will listen to Nate Horner and his budget. What was the first thing? Well, Nate Horner was doing the budget that I was doing. What was I doing while Nate Horner was releasing the budget? I wasn't scrolling TikTok. I wasn't making content. I wasn't at the gym. I was reading the budget in front of me. I was looking at it with my own eyes, which these people are completely, clearly incapable of doing. Everything he said there, he talked about education. We have a record spend on education in this province. It has never been spent like that before. Classroom complexities. We would have never known that 112 different languages are in our classrooms, ESL students. And it's not even like English is their second language. It's like they don't even know English yet. So wrong wording. We would have never known that 112 different languages are in Alberta. In Alberta classrooms, if we didn't do research and have task forces out there. And now Smith and Dimitrios Nicolaitis have a plan for that. They're going to move forward with like a tech plan because, you know, there's 112 different languages. Guys like this don't even listen. He wasn't reading the budget. It's a problem with a lot of these leftists, right? They sit there to react. So he didn't listen. He might be listening to certain talking points, but if you listen to what he's saying, okay. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to, you guys bear with me. I know you've seen the videos, but if you're new here, I'm going to replay his video. And then I'm going to replay the 2 other videos from the leader of the NDP, who had another NDPer in there, and then Rocky Pincholi. I'm going to play them back to back to back. And then we're going to come back. And then I just want to hear from you. And while those videos are playing, let me know what you see. Okay? If you can. And again, before we do that, hit that subscribe button over on YouTube, guys. If you want to hit the pin subscribe button in the comments on Facebook, we appreciate it a lot here. And X, well, again, I don't know how X works, so we're just going to continue doing this. So here you go. Listen to this.
$9.4 billion deficit. That's conservative economics for you. So we have had a conservative government in this province since 1971, save for 4 years during a recession, interestingly enough. And in every meaningful sense, we've had a conservative government since 1935. Remember Bible Bill? Some of you have been here, all you proud Albertans. So we've been mismanaged by the Smith government. Healthcare is absolutely not better. Education is struggling, but now that, of course, the taps have been turned off, there's less migration. I think Calgary grew by 1 student last year. And after begging to double our population 2 years ago, now Smith and her posse are trying to blame it all on foreigners. So not only are they mismanaging the economy, I mean, gravely so, and not managing their major files, healthcare, infrastructure, education, provincial issues. She's now trading on blaming the foreigners. I mean, it is MAGA and it is embarrassing and it's mismanagement. And we should have an election, honestly, and Smith should do the right thing and resign.
An Alberta government spent so much money and delivered so little results for Albertans. After 7 years of UCP government, life is demonstrably more difficult for Albertans in almost every aspect of our lives. And this budget doesn't help. This budget doesn't reduce your cost of living. It actually makes life more expensive.
This budget, plain and simple, makes life harder for a lot of Albertans, asking them to pay more and get less. If you're a trades worker, you'll pay more. If you're a small business owner, you will pay more. If you own a car, if you own a home, if you're a rancher, you'll pay more. If you have aging loved ones in long-term care and continuing care, you're going to be paying more.
This budget doesn't fix the healthcare crisis. It doesn't solve crowding in emergency rooms. It doesn't get you a family doctor. It doesn't improve classrooms. This budget doesn't build new ones for students already crowded into the system. It's time to face the consequences. As Raki says, cut the BS and call an election.
Has achieved what no other government in Alberta's history has. They've blown a resource boom during the boom. It takes remarkable financial mismanagement to have the highest real per capita resource revenue in decades and still deliver a ballooning multi-billion-dollar deficit. The UCP will end this fiscal year with 6 times the resource revenue Rachel Notley had, but with a larger deficit. And tomorrow the UCP will deliver another multi-billion-dollar deficit. Truly unbelievable achievement. Is it getting awkward for the Minister of Finance to still describe his government as fiscally responsible with a straight face?
There you go. There you go. That right there shows you repeated talking points from TikTok videos and how it boils down to these so-called content creators who are incapable, absolutely incapable of actually opening up the budget. They don't sit in front of you on a live stream, on a show. They don't piece the content together to tell you the truth. I'm fully capable to sit here and tell you that I don't agree with the deficit. I don't think any fiscal conservative out there agrees with the deficit. But I'm also a realist, and I understand that federal liberal policies is the reason why we're in this mess. We wouldn't be running a deficit if we had pipelines to the coast, more of them, or taking the tanker bans away. If there was no tanker ban, we wouldn't have these deficits. We wouldn't. If we were making it harder to do interprovincial trade, we wouldn't have these deficits. If we were bringing in investment instead of scaring it away, we wouldn't have these deficits. And I'll go back to the beginning of the show when I said this. I would find it very hard to believe that somebody who provincially votes NDP would ever vote conservative at a federal level. I think we all know the answer of what they vote for at a federal level. So these people are complaining that things are provincial and then voting in their demise on a federal level. It's insanity. It's absolutely insanity. And we ripped it apart. And what are the solutions, right? What happens in this situation? What happens when Danielle Smith is trying to fix stuff? Well, you get Notley coming out and using a Nazi analogy against Danielle Smith. And if you don't remember, ladies and gentlemen, that's the former premier of Alberta. That's shameful. You got Thomas Lukaszuk, right? He comes in, Nazi tactics. Oh, really? Really? Okay. That's what you guys are going with. You guys are going with talking points like this because what? What does this stuff bring to the conversation? Anybody? And you got Michael Jans here. Look at Michael Jans. He posts on his social media, just basically saying that Danielle Smith is part of the Ku Klux Klan. Is this really productive dialogue and discussion? They say, BertaProudDad, you demean and call down the left. This doesn't even equate to what I do. That's apples to oranges. That is not even equating what I do. You want to know what I call down? Teachers like this who show up to school wearing propaganda on their hoodies. I put slogans on my hoodies like the one I'm wearing now. Alberta first, Ottawa last. I'm not asking a teacher to go wear it to school. I definitely don't want them to put Free Palestine stickers on their laptops that kids have to stare at every single day. That's not something that I want to do. Right? But that's what they do. They're all over it. If you want to see that one, hey, that's what he put on his social media. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we read the budget. We went through the budget. We gave you page numbers of the budget. We want you to go read it on your own. And then we want you to go and look at clips. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you guys think. That's important. Right? You call it out for what it is, and I appreciate you for doing all you do. And that's the thing, right? And to end this off, I'm going to be clear with you guys. Okay? For those of you that don't know, and we're going to make this as quick as possible because the left takes this as a win. And I discussed this last week, and I'm going to discuss it again because it's important. I was doing my own thing. I was making my videos, doing my own thing. Everything was fine. Not vulgar, not anything. I was working for a company. I had a good job. I got a phone call on days off one day and said, you're fired. Because of my videos on the internet. Because somebody in HR disagreed with my videos on the internet. At that moment, it was almost the worst experience of my life. In the left, when I came out, because I had to come out and say, hey guys, we're being silenced. I got to go all in on this. Support the channel. Go buy your merch. If you can, if you agree with what we're doing here, you want this to continue, I need your support. And that's where this all started. We kept moving forward and pushing it out. And then I started another company because I was like, you know what? I'll start another company and then we'll go from there. And then the left found out what that company was. And I just recently pulled myself out of the company because that company has employees and that company has people who rely on that company. So I'm no longer with that company. So that salary's gone. So now I'm sitting here and am I gonna let them win? Am I gonna let them win or am I gonna say no? We're gonna go to you, the supporter at home. We're gonna ask you to go to BertaProudDad.com. We're gonna ask you to support the channel because this is important. This is important work. Not everybody can do this and go get fired because me sharing that, they take it as a win, right? Look, we're making him hungry. He's starving. And when he's broke and he has nothing left, he's not going to make his videos anymore. No. I know for a fact that there's people out here watching this right now are going to keep this channel going. I know you guys are going to keep this channel going because it is important work. And we're not going to let this destroy us. And we appreciate all the support, guys. So if you can go to BertaProudDad.com, show a little love, show a little support so we can keep this going every single day. I appreciate it. And we'll see you tonight on tonight's live stream where we'll be breaking down whatever it is we're going to be breaking down. Have a great day.